she want to love him.
Joining us are two industry insiders who have their pulse on the Jamaican music scene. We've got April McIntosh, she's the CEO of Niche Entertainment Group Limited, and Carlette Dillon, publicist and broadcaster and former presenter of Smile. And we're discussing this morning the current state of musical talents in Jamaica and exploring the intriguing phenomenon where 90s dancehall outshines the contemporary version in streaming numbers. Welcome to Smile, ladies.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Good. Yes, good to see you both. Now, let's get right into it. I remember when I was growing up and I was in my teens. I won't say when, right?
We can do the math.
I know, right? Just beat the chest and carry the one. No, my mom used to complain, Lord, the music. And when me did I grow up and all right, fine. I'm a parent now. I've got a 14-year-old daughter, a 10-year-old son, and I pay attention to everything they listen. So I follow like all of them current dancehall artists here and hip hop and whatnot. And sometimes I'm forced into a corner because I'm like, I do not want to sound like my mom. I do not want to sound like my mom. But if I'm being objective, I'm going to kind of sound like my mom. So I'm not going to trash any current dancehall act. I will never do that because it is an expression of how they feel, of the situations they live, and probably how they even want to shape society. Music reflects art and vice versa. But boy, what bad like 90s dancehall. Let's be real about it, right? But recently, Shaggy indicated that the numbers around streaming prove that 90s dancehall is being streamed more than current versions of dancehall. April, why? Why do you think that is? What are you noticing? What are you feeling?
I think there's a level of authenticity to our 90s dancehall that we just can't let go of. It's a part of our core. Majority of us know that enjoy dancehall as a genre. Will follow that scene more because of the fact that we grew up with it, yes. But it's easier. The flow of it is easier to listen to. It's easier to vibe to. Family, in my opinion at least, it's more family-oriented in some ways or in some songs. And I think the music just has a different feel to it. Yeah. And from an international perspective, is it more appealing? For those reasons you outlined, do you think that's probably it too? That's a hard question for me to answer because from an international perspective, you have different territories that appreciate different things about our genre of music. Right. For some it's just a message, for some it's a rhythm. You'll find that Japanese and Chinese really enjoy rhythm making, like producing and creating those things. So I think it's a mixture of things for everybody from an international point. Mm-hmm. The numbers don't lie, Carlette. The numbers absolutely don't lie. What are your views on this thing that Shaggy has pointed out? 90s getting streamed way more. What's going on? I mean, we're seeing a lot of sampling of 90s songs as well in other genres, particularly hip hop and some R&B. So what's owing to that?
Well, certainly I'm team 90s dance hall, yeah? That's my era, like none other. But as you said, the numbers don't lie. And I agree with April from the perspective of authenticity. It also has branding, right? So our 90s dance hall has legacy. It has credibility. It has precedent. So when a modern artist is looking for a Jamaican to collaborate with or to live from or to sample from, they already know certain names because they've made a name for themselves. They already know certain artists. They already know certain beats. So it's so much easier to draw for what you know is tried and true than necessarily to seek out what's new and hot and have a miss. Right. Now, music, one era of music, one generation of music will influence the other and others, broadly speaking. So what we received in the 90s was a follow-on from some of that 80s dancehall, the Daddy Lizard, the Yellow Man who obviously preceded the 80s, right? And so on. You could name a number of artists who, if you talk to, like, for example, the famous Bounty Killer and Beanie Man, right? They will tell you who influenced them. So what we're seeing now in terms of our current dancehall, who influenced
these current talents, you know, and what are they is it that they have decided, okay, while there was a bit of an influence from, say, a killer, from a Beenie Man, they're choosing to depart from that. What led us here?
I don't believe that they wanted necessarily depart. I think what they're trying to do is to create something new. They have come into a society now that has new ways of doing a lot of things. We have trap and reggaeton and those things that people have been experimenting with for years.
Right.
Now the Afrobeat is a heavy influence for a lot of artists. So they try to, I guess, merge in some way to separate themselves.
They tap into a different pool than what the 90s artists tapped into.
And let me get your take on this now, Carla, because I recall when you think about like 90s dancehall, you'll think of producers and you think of beats. So you think of a Showtime, a Brockout, you know what I mean? A Pepper Seed, and I could name them. I could just go on and on and on, right? We don't so much have like a lot of rhythms anymore. You think of a Dave Kelly, for example, and I don't want to, I could name more, but to what extent? Because I can't think, and I'm not saying we don't have producers now, we still do, but you don't have those iconic producers, or as many anymore. Does that influence what's going on? And the culture around it, that rhythm culture as well?
The whole culture has changed completely. Everything is different than it was before, and what you learned in the 90s, you can't necessarily apply in the 2020s that we're at. Technology has changed and evolved, because remember the 90s producers had synthesizers and such that 80s producers didn't have, and that changed the sound of the music.
Right.
Now we have AI technologies and all sorts of things which is going to again change the flavor of the music. And that's a beautiful thing about music. It just keeps changing. It just keeps evolving.
But what is a sound? What is our current dancehall sound? So we talk about, I just mentioned rhythms a while ago, so that used to drive 90s dancehall, you know, rhythm by rhythm by rhythm by rhythm, and you had a few other songs. So like, for example, when an artist would release an album, right, there are a couple of songs from popular rhythms, but obviously there will be other songs that you're like, all right, this is interesting, this is new, this is different, right? But what's driving the culture now, the current dancehall culture, from a musical perspective?
I think now that there is more focus on individuals becoming independent artists and positioning themselves to become a part of labels, everybody's focusing more on singles as opposed to projects. You do still have producers locally that do projects and will still be releasing rhythms, but the attention isn't as heavy as it used to be on those things.
Right.
I find that one of the difficulties from the side of a producer is pitching it to the right ear locally. It's a very taxing thing for them as creatives. It's easy for them to create it and to produce it and to release it, but it's to get it from the release to the ears of everybody else that I find that everybody seems to be having a difficulty with locally.
Well, you wanted to say something, Karen?
I have a slightly different take. I understand and don't disagree. Also, I think the sound now is the message. It's all about the I. I do this, I do that. I'm going to do this, I'm going to take care of myself. I don't care about anybody else. It's all about the I. We have much less music about cultural awareness and social issues and things like that. But even in the I, there is a message about social awareness. It's just much harder to find. So I don't know that we have a sound as in beep, 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 but we have a sound as in a message. I.
One of the big things for me when I was growing up and listening to 90s dancehall in particular was collaborations. So I remember, for example, Hey Baby, which was No Doubt at Bounty Killer, and the Fugees at Bounty Killer. Can I tell I love Bounty Killer? Right? Maya and Beenie Man.
Thank you. How about that? Maya and Janet Jackson. Sorry, Beenie Man and Janet Jackson,
right? So, I mean...
Sean Paul and Beyonce.
There we go. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Right? But the collabs, we're seeing, I would say, I don't have the numbers, but I think I'm seeing less collabs like that. Is that something for us to worry about, or is it something that says, or is it that our dancehall kind of sounds a little bit more like other genres and less dancehall on its own?
That is asking the tough questions today, isn't it?
I don't think, well, for me, I don't see I don't see a separation when collaboration comes in. I think collaboration is about bringing two different sounds, two different fields into one space. It's just finding the right way to do it for it to catch. I think we're doing pretty well. My only concern is that these days it seems as if artists tend to focus more on what the collaboration can do for them as opposed to the music and what the music itself, the message in the music brings across. Yeah.
I agree. Collaborations are still there. They may not sound the way they did in the past, but we're still getting those collabs.
Yeah, 10 seconds to either of you. The future of dancehall talent, the future of dancehall music, what are you seeing? Are you optimistic?
I'm not optimistic, I'm hopeful. I do believe that our industry needs a lot more structure, and we need to focus on that structure, develop it, and encourage our artists to actually learn about what they're trying to do. I think once they engulf that knowledge, there's a much better playing field, a much better strategy, there's a much better goal point, and that goal point is actually more accessible to them.
Final word to you, Carlette.
I am not optimistic. I'm less hopeful. I don't think my son will enjoy the music of Jamaica the way I enjoyed it when I was growing up, and it's sad.
Wow, thanks, April. Thanks, Carlette. April McIntosh, CEO of Niche Entertainment Group Limited, and Carlette DeLeon, publicist and broadcaster. We'll be back right after the break. Stay with us.